All right, this thing with the drones is kind of freaking me out. It's making me even more suspicious of our government. Yeah, a bit worried, but also kind of appreciating how unified this country is. We're all on the same page, pretty much. Republicans, Democrats, independents, nobody likes these drones. Everybody has questions, and we're not getting our answers.
You know, it can't just be the Wild West when it comes to drones. They can't just be flying anywhere, and people have a right to know what's out there and to have their security protected.
And so the question that we have, which I find it astounding, that the government can't give us any answers. Our military, with its capabilities, it cannot give us any answers as to what these are.
They should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal.
The lack of information is absolutely unacceptable.
Two Democrats, two Republicans on the same page. And of course, President Trump showing leadership that is totally absent right now from the Biden administration. Mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know. And now, otherwise, shoot them down. DJT, Donald John Trump. I'm glad he said something. This guy is totally on top of it always. He is getting briefings, though. I wonder. Look, Joe Biden in hiding, as usual. What? It's 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, 9 o'clock at night, whatever. He is in Delaware, I guess, Nantucket. He doesn't care. He can't lead. So they send the noted liar out, Department of Homeland Insecurity, Alejandro Mayorkas, the guy, right? The border is secure. The border is totally secure. And now another obviously dishonest or just a weird, dodgy guy, right?
We haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat. Secondly, we have gone to Congress repeatedly asking for more authority to counter drone activity.
Yes, it's Congress's fault, just like the border, right? They only needed more agents. That would have fixed everything. This is all they got, apparently. Next.
We have experts, and he should not diminish the extent of their expertise and the extent of their dedication to the well-being of the American people. These are individuals who dedicate their careers to the safety and security of the United States of America, number one. Number two, it's not as though anyone can just take down a drone in the sky. That in and of itself would be dangerous.
Ooh, dangerous. Safety first, everybody. We want to see one of these things. We want to dissect it. What's going on? Did you hear the part? The men and women. He's defending the men and women of the swamp. You can't criticize the government because you're attacking the men and women who study drones all day long, who work for the federal government. Get over yourselves. You guys work for us. One more.
We believe that there are cases of mistaken identity where drones are actually small aircraft and people are misidentifying them. There very well may be drones in the sky, of course, but those are commercially available. One can go into a convenience store and buy a small drone. There are also commercial drones.
Number one, you can't buy these things in a convenience store. You can't buy them at 7-Eleven. You can't buy it at Circle K. You can't buy them at Wawa. You can't buy them there. You can buy them at Best Buy. It's not in our head, pal. It's not in our head. And at this moment, I'm going to go to Larry Hogan. Normally, I'm not a fan of this never Trumper, but the former governor, failed Senate candidate, and yeah, never good to Trump, actually put out a fairly reasonable statement. There was a drone flying over his house. I personally witnessed and videoed what appeared to be dozens of large drones in the sky above my residence in Davidsonville, Maryland, 25 miles from our nation's capital. I observed the activity for approximately 45 minutes. What else, Larry? The public is growing increasingly concerned and frustrated with the complete lack of transparency and the dismissive attitude of the federal government. Yes, Larry, that's it. One more. That's it? Oh, yeah. We are being told that neither the White House, the military, the FBI, or Homeland Security have any idea what they are, where they came from, or who has launched or is controlling them. That response is entirely unacceptable. I join with the growing bipartisan chorus of leaders demanding that the federal government immediately address this issue. The American people deserve answers and action now. He could have tweeted it like Trump. Trump is a better tweeter. That's a lot of stuff to say. But he's not wrong, of course. Now, so he said he filmed this stuff. Heads up first, we have the video that Larry took. Larry is not a good photographer, all right? This does not look like much of anything. It's really not Larry's fault, though, when you think about it. It really is the fault of the phone. Everybody's got a phone, and they're not good at night. You know, when you see like a really cool full moon, and you're like, oh, wow, and a professional grabs their phone, and it looks something like this, and you see a full moon, and you grab your phone, and what does it look like? Usually something like this, right? We can never quite pull it off, can we, with the, but they're out there, and they're big, and we need more answers. All right, and we're not getting them from what's his name, Alejandro, and certainly not this guy.
My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you.
I think that his presidency was cursed right there. Before God and all of you, I will always level with you. What a thing to say when you have no intention and no ability, apparently, to live up to it. What is the latest that he's not being straight with us about? The pardons. I beg your pardon. Get it, right? He issued a whole mess of these things at the last minute, as they do when they don't want too much scrutiny. A lot of oddball things on here. I want to go first to Dixon, Illinois, in the heart of America. Fine community to the west of Chicago, very west of Chicago, closer to Iowa. They gave a great big indictment to a city employee who stole a lot of money. Rita Crundwell, pardoned by Biden. She was sentenced to almost 20 years in prison. Embezzled over $53 million. Well, you know who doesn't like this? The people, the good people of Dixon, Illinois, who were ripped off. They put out a statement. The city of Dixon is shocked and outraged with the announcement that President Biden has given Rita Crundwell clemency for the largest municipal embezzlement in the history of our country. This is a complete travesty of justice and a slap in the face for our entire community. Wow. Now, why would Joe have done something like that? Any theories, anybody? Huh? Is he monetizing this stuff? Just an idea. I don't know. Got to keep an eye on him. He does live very well for a guy. All right, what else did he do that's strange? China. A bunch of guys from China. Released from prison. Espionage crimes targeting American aviation. This guy posed as a Chinese intel. Just weird stuff. Pardoned by Biden. It goes on like this. Guy after guy. Fake representation. 8 years in prison. Worked in the U.S. under the child pornographer. This is crazy stuff. And it calls to mind, once again, the strangely friendly attitude that Biden has always had toward China, and the more reasonable, hawkish, tough, but not unreasonable attitude of Donald Trump.
I have many people from China that I do business with. They laugh at us. They feel we're fools. You know, they're getting away with absolute murder.
China's a great nation, and we should hope for the continued expansion.
I don't want to lose $300 billion a year to China when we can't afford to build schools for our children, when we can't afford to build highways, when we can't afford to build railways, when we can't afford to build bridges. I want money to be invested in jobs and in this country. I don't want to rebuild China.
A rising China is a positive development, not only for China, but for America and the world writ large.
It was China's fault, and China's going to pay a big price what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price what they've done to the world. This was China's fault, and just remember that.
554,064 American dead from COVID-19. A lot of families want to know how this happened, how it got here. Have you had a chance to speak to any of your international partners, any of President Xi, who I know you go way back with? Have you had a chance to ask him if these reports are true that China maybe misled the world at the beginning?
No, I have not had that conversation with President Xi. Thank you.
Now, why would he talk about COVID with President Xi and all that stuff, huh? They were so close. Why? A couple of theories. Anyone? Anyone? Yes. Follow the money. Another weirdo pardon for this judge who sent children to a for-profit prison and got kickbacks. 28 years he was sentenced to prison. Why does he get a pardon? He got a pardon. Here's a little flavor of the consequences of his corruption.
You need to be. Do you remember me? Do you remember me? Do you remember my son? An all-star wrestler? He's good. He shot himself in the heart. You bag.
A heartbroken, really an outraged mother lashing out at former Judge Mark Civarella. Now, her son, an all-star wrestler, killed himself after being sent to a juvenile detention facility for a minor drug offense. Now it turns out that Civarella was accepting money to do that, send kids away for cash. The former judge was convicted yesterday of 12 counts, including racketeering and money laundering. The judge remains free while he awaits sentencing.
Well, an incurious media not pursuing, not running down all of this stuff happening late in the administration, like most administrations do. One thing to also appreciate about Donald Trump, he didn't wait until the end of his term. He was doing pardons throughout his administration, including for Muhammad Ali, the late great fighter. He got in trouble for basically dodging the draft, but it wasn't. He kind of tried to declare himself a conscientious objector, but they didn't have that status back then. So, yeah, he technically had a criminal record, got in trouble for it. And it was one of the things that he really wanted to do, President Trump, remove that stain, that, legally speaking, it's a stain, from his record. Donald Trump having a little fun with reporters about this one in 2018.
He was not very popular then. His memory is very popular now. I'm thinking about Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali issued a full and complete pardon posthumously, but very much appreciated by the family. And this, I think, might be my favorite pardon that President Trump issued. Also, in basically the middle of his term, Alice Marie Johnson. She was sentenced to life in prison. She served 21 years in prison. Now, you got to remember this, a non-violent drug offender. I heard the whole story. She was working at FedEx, had a boyfriend. She was working the phones in this house, and it just grew into this whole federal case. She was great in prison. She totally deserved a pardon, and she got one from the President of the United States right there in the Oval Office.
We're giving Alice a full pardon. I just told her. We didn't even discuss it. You were out there, I saw you in the audience last night. And I asked the folks if you could bring Alice over. We're going to give a full pardon. We're going to do it right now. That means you have been fully pardoned. That's the ultimate thing that can happen. That means you can do whatever you want in life and just keep doing the great job you're doing.
Awesome. I actually got to meet her once. Very, very nice lady. Well-deserved. Why wait? You got the power. Use it. And he did. And he will.